The 2-4 profile is that of a hermit opportunist. Consciously, your personality has a personal destiny of projection as a theme in your profile. Unconsciously, your design profile in its personal destiny is that of externalization. Consciously, our behavioral identity here is you are a hermit. Your projected attitude is that of democratic leadership. Your limited perspective, as far as your memory, is that of bigotry. And your aspired to role is about harmony, creative harmony. Your bonding strategy vacillates between shyness and boldness. Your security strategy is that of a nourisher or a depleter. Emotionally, you resonate with advancing or withdraw. And the awareness resonance is that of determination or not. The nature of your body is that of an opportunist. Your type, when things become difficult, is that of abdication or being an abdicator. Your unconscious memory is that of people fatigue. And your creative direction is that of aloneness. Your sexuality is about bonding through being a confidant or not. Your humanity is that of being a benefactor or a dependent. Your wave, emotional wave resonance vacillates between kindness and meanness. Your frequency resonance is either to corruption or not. When it comes to being a hermit opportunist, you are one of the most incredibly impressive and powerful people. According to Ra, you can be very annoying at times, perhaps even offensive, because this is a missionary, quote unquote, missionary profile. What happens is when you get called out, you can really get a crusade going amongst your friends, familiars within your network. In other words, when you get behind something, you really get behind it. That's why it can be offensive to some people. Because when you get called out, you really have to go out there and crusade for it and externalize your gift. So, again, kind of like a missionary, where you're self involved in your own process. Consciously, you're basically antisocial, and yet your body is looking for friends, for its influence, to have an opportunity. As a 2-4 profile, you get an incredible amount of attention and opportunities because they come to you more than any other profile. Because you are unaware of your talents and gifts, no other profile gets more attention from your network. Because of all those people who want to connect with you, who can want to be friends with you because they see you. And it gets the attention from others who are projecting that you can be this or that because of your unaware projection. People always trying to encourage you, you should do this or you should do that. You can maybe sometimes feel like a pinball and get totally fatigued from all this attention from others. With the second line mind in your profile, you as a hermit are going to feel very comfortable locked into the same office every day. You can feel very secure and comfortable there, just waiting there for the call. But as a 2-4, you do need to wait for that call. Because if you don't wait for the call into the network, what happens is that there's not really anything for you to do that is satisfying for you or successful or peaceful or surprising in this life. And there will be many calls, but not all calls are correct for you. You've got to know that. Trust yourself when you hear that call, when you use your own authority, you will know. When it comes to your body, your skill here is about investment in people. This is one of the most important things to understand about being a fourth line body. When we think about you as an opportunist, based on who do you know and who knows you, you've got to develop a solid network of people who know you, trust you, like you, so that you can service them in support of, empowerment, or sharing of yourself with them in order to gain your rewards in this life. So, as a fourth line, even though your mind might be shy, and sometimes it's bold, your body is here to have a recognition that to the network of people, you can make an investment in them. And at some point, again, this is one of the most difficult things for you as a fourth line to recognize when someone you've been making an investment in is never going to return upon or make good on that investment, in that maybe they never really bring the opportunity. Now, this is not a mental decision. This is a body thing that has to come out of your own authority. Because let's take it into the business context when it comes to the fourth line. You can recognize where or in whom you should invest, where you can put your resources, your energy, your time, your attention, your influence. In a sense, the business influence that's possible there because your body and the unconscious level is an opportunist. It's important for you to recognize that you have to have a kind of continuity between any opportunity, whether that be a job, a lover, or a business, or a business partner, or even a house. It's one of the most important things Ra would say about you. When it comes to you being a 2-4, you are enormously helpful, useful, valuable in the small group dynamic. As a 2-4 hermit opportunist, you're going to love being in your office and inside of whatever environment, so long as it's the right office for you. You can, as a 2-4, run the risk of being a workaholic because you might always find something that absorbs you in that process, as in being indoors. The potential, again, for becoming a missionary and going out into the network because of the opportunity is something that you can learn about so long as it's calling you. Now, as a second line, you can be kind of diaphanous, as in others will look in and see in you what you do not see in yourself. For you as a second line, education is essential, as in preparedness. It is needed so that when you do get called out, you don't collapse and become ineffective. It's not about being introspective. It's about being busy in your own business, those things that you enjoy, those things that you don't want to be disturbed in. When you get called out because someone sees something in you, it puts an enormous responsibility on you to experience or learn by forcing you to leave whatever protective place in space you enjoy being in, where you normally go about your own business. What happens is you may be forced to enter into a world where you may not be fully equipped to meet that world. So remember, in our modern world, education is equated to strength and ignorance is equated to weakness. You're a natural at things and you don't have a natural inclination to research, study, investigate necessarily. You may enjoy being left alone to deal with life existentially, as in doing what comes natural. And so you may not be easily motivated to do anything. As a hermit personality, you're waiting to be called, and it is about the right call of the opportunity where you may not have conceived of it yet because you cannot see your own potential. You may be incredibly unaware. As a 2-4, it can be kind of surprising when someone looks into your window and sees something in you that you cannot necessarily see in yourself. Sometimes it may be disturbing or a distraction when others see in you, hey, what would be really interesting for you, my friend, is that you would be really good at this or that. And if it's right for you, then you can get launched on your path. The success of being a 2-4 is that your life is being determined by the call of others. The question for you is when and with whom and where, when it's right for you to answer that call. The answer always comes to you being your own authority. And so once that call is answered as a 2-4, then you can invest in your education. Studying will bring success to the opportunity of finding that answer. Essentially, you are incredibly democratic. Now, at the fourth line body level, your willingness to wait for an opportunity, for patience, being able to abdicate or accept being led by others is part of your opportunity. At the second line level, you may not want to get involved. You may be content to let the majority rule, to let the friends be part of the influence. You may simply not want to vote when it comes to voting. May feel shy or just want to save yourself the cost of any involvement and just abdicate to the majority. Again, remember, this theme is about waiting for the call. As a second line mind, fundamentally, your mind, your personality is shy. It calls out for boldness in the other, and that's your strategy in order to find friendship. People are attracted maybe to your shyness and they want to call you out. It's not about you being pursued. You're not aware of the quality within yourself that can be attractive. And in that shyness, you're waiting for someone to look into you and say, you, calling out to you, you're for me. It's an irony that by being called out for, the 2-4 can often begin to experience bigotry or prejudice and people fatigue. Since you're designed to be called and you are unaware of how seen you are, you can really get called out often because you have a network of opportunity. So when you're involved in any unhealthy situations, you can become easily overwhelmed or exhausted. From the unconscious level, you're seeking out potential for harmony. And this is a genetic strategy for your intimacy. Waiting as a 2-4 is designed to wait for the interest of the other. It is the need of others to potentially unburden themselves because you're a friend. That can lead to the fulfillment of any intimacy physically, to be a confidant or not, this friendship that is a necessary prerequisite before any kind of intimacy, whether in business or in making babies. As a fourth line body, you're designed to seek out friendship in order to eventually establish any kind of partnership. Either your body is going to be patient and wait for the mind to be called, and this is going to help you avoid any frustration, anger, bitterness, or disappointment just by waiting for that call. Your security strategy is about being a nourisher or a depleter. In this existential life, if you are not waiting for the call, what happens is you deplete your resources. But once called, your opportunity to be the great nourisher, to have the power to care. You may nourish yourself and others. In the beginning of waiting for the call, you may be forced to deplete the resources of others in order to establish your own strength. This is natural. And in timing with friendship, we can see the opportunity grow where the investment comes to pay itself forth in spades, so to speak. Sometimes we see some words maybe carry a prejudice related to whatever culture we're in, whatever time it is that we live in. Remember how our universe is dualistic in nature, this and that. Human beings, we conform to this binary of Maya, and fundamentally, we can think of things as moralistic. It's not a value judgment when it comes to terms like nourisher or depleter. Is it positive or negative? Now, mechanics, accordingly to our human design, it's about amorality. Positive and negative are simply different perspectives. If you think about any great artist who required a benefactor, the artist was a depleter of the resources of whomever was nourishing them as a benefactor. So it's not like there's anything wrong with being someone who is using resources, so long as the value exchange is aligned and correct. Now, for a hermit, advance and withdrawal is your key. Withdrawal and being uncalled can result in an existential life of perfect order. It means then that not all 2/4s must accept all the calls that come into your life because you're waiting for the right call. But because people see you, because a lot of people may see you, oh, my friend does this and that. You have to be patient, so discerning, so picky to know when it's right for you. And you'll recognize it when it's true. Use your own authority. Now, sometimes, even though there may be opportunities, some second line personalities can't hear the call or they never receive a call. And yet they can live out their existence in relative harmony. Remember, you have no comparison. You can be at peace with what you came here to be. You don't have to have someone looking and peering in at you, calling attention to you and yourself in this life. You can just wait and be aware, be at peace with what is, with your now, in your opportunity to be that friend whenever called. Underlyingly, your intuition is to focus on your personal destiny, what is relatively pure in your discernment process of differentiating between what is corrupt and what is incorruptible. This guides you as a 2/4 of assessing any value in the opportunity and the quality of any call. You don't have to leave the sanctity of your own private space without absolute clarity that whatever the call is truly your destiny. Remember, you're a missionary, archetypally. With this kind of profile, avoiding struggle is a major theme because you, as a 2/4, you just want to be allowed to live your life with as little interference as possible. Now, your fourth line unconscious demands that your body is a confidant. It means that you'll hear out the other, your stories being shared. But you don't want to be told what you should or shouldn't do. This is not for you. As a 2/4, you can expend enormous energy in just maintaining the status quo, as in, why rock the boat? When it only brings unknown struggle or problems. This is exacerbated by an undefined emotional system. So if you have a second line personality being determined in your awareness of being naturally gifted by accepting without question whatever has already been established through your discernment, is for this reason you as a 2/4 profile have the potential to actualize as a force when it comes to being called to be that influencer through the opportunity of your friends, your familiars, your family. For if and when you do receive and resonate to whatever call, you can be transformed. Potentially, this turns sinners into saints, alcoholics into tea drinkers, according to Ra. So within the principle of this hexagram structure, you are yang in nature, accordingly to the 2 and the 4 as in. This is a yang profile energetically, common to be called, but rare to have that call answered. Second line, you as a personality, once you're accepting that call, you may be forced to accept a new foundation, and through the fourth line, unconscious, that opportunity to externalize to your friends, your families, your familiar, your network is part of what others look to you for. Because you can be seen unawares, other people witness your transformation. And because of that, you can have a deep and lasting influence or impact on those that you know. So Ra would say that there's this old mystical joke that best suits you as a 2-4 profile. Stupid before enlightenment, stupid after. As in, as a 2-4, you don't have to ponder your transformation. You can go back to intuitively accepting your existential life process, hoping at last to be left alone to do your own thing. Again, as a second line, you may be inherently shy as a strategy. This is lower trigram. Not equipped to recognize that the other can really be there. You're just waiting for them to call. Your unconscious body rooted in friendship, familiarity, that possibility of being successful in business or any intimacy. When you as a fourth line become friends with someone, fundamentally, this is a genetic strategy for the opportunity to arise. And through that friendship, ultimately in business, your success, satisfaction, peace, and surprise can be possible. Your potential can be realized. When it comes to the nature of being your own authority, waiting for that call, waiting for the opportunity, patience, and coming to grips with the knowing that happens inside in the empowerment of the process of the development of your fullest gifts and potential. Do what comes natural to you. Follow your body to align to what's true. Ending and accepting and experimenting with your strategy. Finding the gifts of being your own authority. To rise to the fundamental nature of your calling. To be in truth. Not just fingers pointed at truth, but to be in self-realization of the actualization of your potential and your gifts, to be of influence, to answer the call of your lifetime, the call of this existence, to be at peace or in satisfaction, success and surprise, for you to self-realize, be yourself, to love yourself in truth. The path of this existence is already there inside of you, this potentially untapped potential that simply is waiting for the call for you to be your own authority. Namaste.